All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. We're in. That's how we
Blast
start.
off.
Blast off. Hey, welcome to the Fireside Tattoo Podcast, the official podcast of the Fireside Tattoo Network. Really the only podcast of the Fireside Tattoo Network. You want to
But
do
you're
one?
still the official one.
We're the official one.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, let's start a second one. I need more podcasters. We should make it a collective. Robin, you want to do a podcast? Okay. All right, let's build this thing. I'm Jake Meeks. This is Tommy Altman. If you follow this show, you already know Tommy Altman because you were on about this time last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really cool, man.
Well, thanks. What did we talk about last year?
Man, just all my crap. No, it's like just having shop and then just about continuing education, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think if I
that's
remember
right.
correctly.
Yep, that sounds right.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's just dope. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This show's rad, so.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. And we met originally at the first Impact. I guess it was the first kind of big Impact conference.
Yep.
Which was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the thing fell apart and didn't get a second year, but it was a lot of fun that first year.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a ton.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I made some really cool like friends, and so it was rad.
Yeah, yeah. We so we were talking about before this what we might talk about on a follow-up episode, and you mentioned something that I think's pretty important as well, and which is client relationships and really how client relationships have changed over the years. Remind me how long you've been tattooing?
8 years.
Okay,
Yep.
so yeah, they've changed a lot in that period of
Yeah.
time. And the mindset that we have to have for the level of commitment that our clients make to us these days.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, for me, it's one of the things I probably think about as much as tattooing, really, and as much as like running a business too. You know what I mean? So like, because just to me, tattooing is one of those things like it's kind of a gift. You know what I mean? That we are kind of entrusted with. At least that's what my mentors taught me, and so like you're kind of supposed to protect it, all this other stuff, but like it's also this gift because we have this opportunity to have a relationship with clients that you don't really get in a lot of other careers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one, you're touching people, which that's pretty personal and
Right.
hopefully appropriate.
Right.
So that's a whole different podcast. But
Yeah.
but I mean, you have an opportunity with clients like to be invited into their lives, and so to me it's a great responsibility. I read something really early on. I think it's actually during my apprenticeship. It was talking about how in different cultures only the holy men are allowed to do tattoos because they believe something's transferred between the tattooer and the tattooee or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I'd go that far, but you definitely spend a lot of time with somebody and you could have a lot of influence. And often, I mean, sometimes they're just for fun, but sometimes, man, like you're going through some really tough times with people. And for me personally, that's what got me into tattooing. Like,
Was the opportunity to help or to?
it was my wife and I lost a child in between our two boys.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And during that time, obviously, like, I'd been in the military, I'd been, deployed, all that stuff. So I thought, yeah, I was a pretty tough guy or whatever, at least emotionally. And that just wrecked me. I ended up in the hospital thinking I was having a heart attack. And literally, I was like, yeah, I'm not leaving. They're like, you're fine. You're like, I'm not leaving until you guys figure out what's wrong because I'm dying. And they're like, no, I think it's just stress. I'm like, get the hell out of here, stress. What are you talking about? And luckily the doctor was super cool, and he was like, look, man, I did all the tests. Like, it's stress. So he talked to me about what's going on. And during that time, like for me, an outlet was getting tattoos. It's the first time I got like a large scale tattoo. At least to me, it was a half sleeve, so it was a big deal. And it was a super healing process. And not just the tattoo, but I fell in love with the process, the environment, the people. And so that's really what was my catalyst to getting into tattooing. And so once I started tattooing, it's something that I kind of kept at the forethought of my mind was like, man, like this is a great opportunity and a responsibility we have to our clients. Yeah. And so I don't know. It's a big deal.
That's a unique way that you came into it too. As opposed to someone that just like me, kind of, not drunkenly, but as a kid, just thought a tattoo looked cool. Got
Right.
kind of a half-assed tattoo from a shop that I was able to walk into.
Right.
And that's the difference in like that. I mean, those experiences aren't similar.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
But we have far, far more people whose first tattoo experience is like yours these days than what was like mine.
Yeah, for sure.
Which makes which makes what we do a giant responsibility.
Oh yeah, I mean I think so. Like it's one of the things I talk to people I work with all the time about, and it's just changed. The stigma's obviously getting lifted.
Gone.
You know, it's I mean for crying out loud, I saw a Cadillac commercial with like a guy with a tattoo sticking out. You know, and I was like, that's not by accident. You know,
Right.
so it's very different now. And I just had a lot of clients that I realized, and maybe it's because I'm so sensitive to that subject, but like I have a lot of clients that have immoral tattoos that work in a big military town, so whether they've lost loved ones or they've lost friends and coworkers.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a big deal, man. Like
Yeah.
I got to walk through that with a lot of people, and man, like you don't get to do that with a lot of jobs.
No, not at all. So what's your approach then? I mean, what with that kind of weight, you made a comment to me earlier that like you don't drink the night before you have a tattoo to do just because you don't want anything at all to affect your focus or whatever for that day.
Yeah, I might go too far with it,
Yeah.
but that's generally how I do with everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty extreme with stuff, but yeah, for me, once I started like I guess getting booked out a little ways, I saw it as this great responsibility. One, people want to wait to get if they wait a week to get tattooed by you, like that's a big responsibility. Like most people don't wait more than 30 minutes for something anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like if they're willing to wait to get you to put a permanent mark on their body forever, especially in remembrance of somebody else, like, or just like a tough time they're going through. Like it's just I don't know, man. To me, like I personally I don't want anything to cloud my mind, so I won't drink the night before. I try to make sure that that I'm eating healthy, and part of that's just so like for my own health, but also I've realized the correlation between that and clear thought, and so I try to meditate, and again it helps me personally, but it also like makes my brain just work way better. But when I sit down, I'm able to give somebody 100% of me, whether that's good or bad.
Right.
But for me, man, I just want to make sure that I'm responsible with that.
Yeah. That I think that's an important point. Like you said, if someone's willing to wait a week, that's a big deal to get tattooed. If they're waiting months on end, and the commitment is huge. The thing that I find that we all struggle with is we're just living. Tattooing is just part of what we do every day.
Right. Yep.
The person that waited 3, 4, 5 months, or even a week to get that piece have been marking days off of the calendar, counting that down. It's the biggest day of the month by far, maybe the biggest day of the year, especially starting a really meaningful project or something like that. And if you come into it, with the stress of, paying your mortgage or issues you're having with your, kid or wife or whatever else, and that stuff I think is really obvious to the client.
Yep.
It's obvious that you're distracted. I try, I run other businesses outside of tattooing, and what I've noticed is if I keep my phone on, even if I keep it on silent, if I just keep it on and I see the light pop up, like I got a text message, it automatically gets in my head and I start thinking like, oh, it was because I have a real estate business outside of this. I'm like, oh, there are busted pipes. Is there a water heater out? Did somebody's house catch on fire? And now I'm not at all engaged in the piece. And that person is not spending a little bit of money that day. I mean, it's a lot of money they're putting in for me to be thinking about something else. So I find that you have to set barriers for yourself. You have to do what, and it's probably different for everyone, but you have to do whatever it takes to make sure that you're 100% in that moment and that you don't allow distractions to come in. And sometimes in a shop environment, that's tough because there's a lot of drama in shops.
Unfortunately, yeah. It doesn't have to be, I guess, but we tend to make it that way. But artists are very sensitive, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you do have to figure out what it is for you. And so for some people, it's meditation. For some people, it's taking their phone and putting it in the drawer. I don't know, man. And I guess you can always go extreme on everything, but for me, it is really important that we kind of keep that in the forefront of our mind. I mean, because especially they're waiting a year, for crying out loud, dude. They literally took time off of work. They scheduled it probably months in advance. They got babysitters lined up. I mean, that's a lot, dude. And then for some people, like, oh, I just don't feel like going to work today. I want to go fishing. Like, are you for real? You're gonna call out for that kind of stuff, man? Like, so you don't care about tattooing, you don't care about the client. Like, I don't know. To me, it's the responsibility we have to our craft also carries over the responsibility we have to our clients. So it's how I run our business, how I run my life personally. So
as an example, my minimum charges my day rate because I'm trying to focus on. I've got a goal in tattooing, and it's large scale work.
Right.
And so if I have $150 an hour minimum or whatever, then I'm distracted from doing the things that I want to focus on. And I was talking to another local Memphis tattooer recently, and told them that that my minimum was my day rate, and they're like, "How in the world are you competing whenever my minimum is $60?"
Right.
It's like, well, we're not selling the same.
No.
We're not selling the same product.
No.
Man. Like I'm selling, or even better, a better example than me. I spent a couple of months ago. I spent a few days at Guy Aitchison's shop, which is in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. It's beautiful, but and that's something like $2,500 or something like that to go and get tattooed by him, and the tattoo itself is what you take away.
Right.
But it's only part of what those people come there for.
Oh, yeah.
It's mostly tattooers that are coming there.
Right.
That's a journey.
Yep.
You can't fly in and take a cab to his place.
Right.
It's a very purposeful journey that you're taking.
It's not by accident.
It's not by accident. You're in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
You're working until 1 or 2 in the morning because that's the way that he works.
Right.
He works deep into the night, often 2 days in a row. And so it's a completely different experience. That he is not selling anything close to anyone else that's running a tattoo studio in that.
No,
in
and
that
honestly,
area.
I mean, it's probably very close to like a spiritual, sacred journey for somebody to go through that process. Like, it's life changing.
Yeah.
I mean, their lives forever change as a result of that time with them.
Right.
That's crazy, dude. Like, that's I mean, obviously, guys on a different level. You know what I mean? But like, we all had that on a smaller level with our clients, and so I mean, their lives are forever changed as a result of the time they spend with us. Like, we should care about that. I think so. I mean, maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think you're absolutely right. You were talking about how you got your first tattoo as a memorial, and you are in a military town, so you probably do. There are quite a few memorial tattoos just because of the nature of the people that you're tattooing, and they're in dangerous situations and are always losing friends and things like that. Robin and I were having a pretty interesting discussion yesterday about the kind of Pinterest era of tattooing, which is what she does. Robin, who was just sitting here as well, what she does are a lot of small kind of like most of her clients are all women. They're all kind of getting their first tattoo. She said, what does she say? I tattoo people that don't really want tattoos. I love that. It's like someone should make a sticker or a shirt for that. But
I've heard them called accent tattoos. Like it's a little accent that I want to wear. You know what I mean? And
so I wonder, as the industry grows, and we're always kind of thinking, is there a bubble with this thing? Does it get to a point? And to me, the most, I don't know the term, but like the most sensible way that I can think of it is tattoos that have a purpose, a meaning. People will probably always look to get tattooed for that reason, because in history people have gotten tattooed. It's been symbolism, it's been rites of passage, it's been things like that. It's only in this modern era that we just get like, I mean, I don't mean to knock anyone that does like beautiful photorealism, but think about people who are photoshopping like an old man and a ship, and they kind of like blur them together and they do this beautiful version of it, and you're like, oh wow, that's a great tattoo. What the hell does that even have to do with anything? And then does it get to a point where all these people look around and they go like, everybody has tattoos like this. Like, I don't even want mine anymore. Or a new generation comes up that's like, man, my dad has these photorealistic tattoos that just look cool and there was nothing to them. Like, I don't even want a tattoo.
No.
Do you see that as a realistic?
What's funny is I was just talking to my mentor about it last night, which is really funny. Because he was like, well, yeah, man, I wonder if our kids are not going to want them. And I'm like, yeah, my son's 12 years old, and literally on his iPad, he was like writing down some stuff, and I was like, what are you doing, man? And he was like, I'm writing down my idea for my back piece. And I was like, oh, crap. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be in so much trouble with my wife. And I was like, well, let's see what you got. You know what I mean? I want to see what's your idea for this back piece. He was like, have you ever done a tiger fighting an alligator with Japanese water everywhere? And I was like, no, but that sounds wicked awesome, bro. And so he was like, that's what I want. Like, don't sell that. I was like, cool, it's off. Like, nobody can have it. I don't care. They offer me $1 million. I'm not doing it. And he was like, okay. And but then my youngest son, he went to like a sleepover or whatever, and he came back, and I was like, oh, how were they? Nice, And he's like, yeah, nice. He goes, Dad, his dad doesn't have any tattoos. Isn't that weird? Like, that's funny. I mean, kind of, kind of for me, but I don't know, man. I don't know there's a bubble. Like, look at the oldest human remains we have, the Iceman. I mean, it was like, last I heard was like 40, 50 tattoos that they found on him. Like, as I guess as he thaws more, they find. I don't know how this works, but like,
I don't know.
It's been around forever, and everybody has different things. You know what I mean? So like, I think we are moving into this era of it is art. It's fine art, but you're still going to have people that want to have it just because it's cool.
Yeah.
Like, or their girlfriends want to go have wine one night and they all want to come in and get a little heart on their ankle or whatever. You know, it's like, but they remember that night, forever.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know, man. Like,
I don't either. I guess just looking at, if you're looking at numbers, and I don't know, the numbers are all over the place as far as how the industry growth is moving, how the people getting tattooed. But the latest numbers that I've seen is that in the U.S., we're approaching 40% of the population being tattooed.
Of the entire population.
Of the entire
That's
U.S.
crazy.
population. So almost half of Americans are tattooed.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess when I started tattooing in the mid-'90s, about 3 to 5% were probably tattooed.
Yeah,
so,
I think it was in 2012, either 10 or 12, I read that it was 30 to 40% of Americans 18 to 40.
Okay.
And
now
not that much longer or much later, it's 40% of all Americans. That's not a small jump. That's a big jump.
Big jump. Yeah. And so that's I guess what I wonder, because my first I thought a lot like you in that I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, trends will change.
Right.
We're not doing a lot of what we consider tribal, like American tribal.
Right.
We don't do a lot of lower back pieces with butterflies anymore.
Right.
And that stuff was really huge. And that was a bubble that popped, and then it
Right.
went to, we don't do a ton of kanji anymore.
Which is dope.
Yeah.
Kanji's so fast.
Yeah. But so maybe it just continues to evolve that way.
Sure.
Or, maybe we have a generation of people who have come up who every authority figure in their life is tattooed,
Right.
and the natural rebellion is to not be tattooed.
I don't know, man. You also see people in our own community that they want to be more extreme, so they're going to chop a daggone finger off. You know what I mean? So, like,
right. Yeah.
I mean, what I think that you're getting clientele who are more educated now as a result of TV shows or whatever, or just access to the internet. I mean, the cat's out of the bag. So I don't know. I feel like some of that stuff's good, some of it's bad. Some people have unrealistic expectations. They come in like, oh, what can I want to get my sleeve done today. We can start it. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, you're getting people. I get people that come in for their first tattoo. I had a girl, she was in her 50s. She came in, did a consultation with me. She's like, I want to get my first tattoo. I was like, okay, rad. Like, let's do it, man. And she's like, I want to get some flowers or whatever. All right, let's do it. She's like, but I want to start at my foot, go up my leg, across my whole back, and then down both arms.
Yeah.
This is her first tattoo. I'm like, so essentially you want a full bodysuit. You just don't know how to say that yet. Like, and she was like, I went to somewhere, and because I wanted a female to do my tattoo, and she told me I didn't deserve it because I don't have any tattoos. And I was like, well, does she not like money? Like, I don't know what's going on here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was like, of course I'll do your tattoo. Like, you've put more thought into this than most people just walk in. So like, I don't know. I think we're getting clientele who are willing to get larger scale stuff. I mean, I'm lining up more full torsos, full back pieces now, and maybe it's just where I'm at in my career. I don't know. I also find that people come in and they know what they want. Like, that's rad. It takes a lot of that guesswork out of it for me. So, I don't know, man. Maybe we got another 10 years of doing that, and then maybe people don't want full body suits. I don't know.
I don't either, because and I guess it depends on that's an interesting conversation, because people have different experiences. I have a lot of people, because I do large scale work like you, they come in and they've seen that I do back pieces and sleeves, and they say, I really want a sleeve. I don't really know what I want.
Yep.
I just want a sleeve.
Yep.
And I've been talking to Emily about, so I've closed my books for the rest of this year, and I want to reopen them next year with the goal of working like neck to knees.
Yep.
I want to try to. I'd like to take on 5 or 6 projects that are neck to knees.
That's what I call full back.
Yeah, like full back.
Yep.
Yeah, but all the way down. And I thought, so many people come to me and they know they want large scale work, but they don't know what they want.
Right.
Why don't I just draw 10 pieces?
Yep.
Paint a picture, like tell a story with those pieces, a very common story, that overcoming struggle, loss, addiction, whatever those things like that.
And kind of thematic.
Yeah, and paint a picture that so many people can relate to, and see if you can sell those pieces.
Right.
And I plan to do it, and I think it would be a really interesting experiment.
Yeah.
I
think you totally can do it. Like, people are interested in being part of something larger than themselves.
Yeah.
That gives them an ability to get the tattoos they want. They can express themselves, but they're also still a part of something larger. Actually, a really good friend of mine, Andy Chambers, he does stuff that's similar to that. And like when he does a dragon, he does basically a sibling of that dragon. So he draws out 2 of them, and like one person gets one and one person gets other. They're not related, but like in his head, it's this process. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm telling it all wrong for one. But like,
So he's trying to like connect those people in some way, or something like that,
or just connect it for himself. This process of like of creation.
Yeah.
We are in the process of creation. Like it's crazy, dude. Like when you think about it, I don't know. Maybe I'm too philosophical with it, or weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm some weird hippie, or I don't know. Like, but I mean, it is. It's a different thing that we get to be a part of. That you can do. So somebody can do paintings. They can express themselves. It's a completely different thing. Get to do that, and then you get to pair that with somebody's life forever.
Yeah.
I think Gabriel Tennyson did something like that, where he had like this theme, and then he did an art show. I was like, and all it was like people's backs. Get that guy there. I'm like, that's genius. I'm totally going to steal it one day, hopefully.
Right.
But like, I was like, that's genius, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
I love. I don't. He's smarter than me. I don't always understand, but I love looking at his post because I put a post and I'm like, hey, started this koi and such on so and so's arm today. Real excited to finish it, whatever. And he takes some deep philosophical. Like there's this the copy that's under all of his posts. I'm like, you have to like reach for a connection to what the piece is, and his goal, I guess, is to make you think. I'm just too dumb to think that on his level.
No, I've tried to do like, get a cool quote that goes with the sea with this ship thing, and I'm like, I mean, maybe it's scratching the surface of it, but definitely not like that level,
like
that. I mean. Yeah,
this same discussion was one I was thinking I'd like to have with him, and I haven't reached out to him to come on the show yet. I don't know him particularly well. We know each other a little bit through Nick Baxter.
Yep.
They're pretty good friends. So,
who's another genius? I mean, holy smokes! But
so let's move on a little bit. You since the last time we talked, you started a product company.
Yes. By accident.
By accident. So tell me. We'll start with what the problem was, and then what the result was.
Okay. So with doing more large-scale stuff, and with doing a lot of realistic tattoos with black and gray or whatever, or even traditional Japanese, I was doing it on my iPad. I had a lot of reference. I got tired of printing off like 15 pages of stuff and have it all over the place and looking like a weird mad scientist. And so one of my friends was like, "I want you to get an iPad," and I'm like, "Cause I don't do that, I don't know, man." Like,
so you didn't draw digitally for very long?
No,
okay.
Never before I bought one. Well, I guess nobody does.
Yeah. How long have you been drawing digitally then, or been using iPad for reference?
About a year and a half, 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Not long.
Yeah.
And quickly, I was like, I'm a germ freak, like as I would hope all of us are. So I was wrapping it up, with Saran wrap, and I was just like, man, like every time first off, I can't see crap on my screen because it's a big wrinkled mess. I can't touch the screen and actually use the whole slide to the screen or look at different references. And then every time I unwrapped it, in my head, I'm like, I'm still cross-contaminating this thing. Like, so then what are you going to do? You're going to wipe the whole thing down with Maticide?
Yeah.
I mean, all right, you're just going to ruin your product. And so I was literally tattooing one day. There was a couple times, like everybody else, where I was like a little lazy. I was like, well, I'll just move it a little further from my tattooing area, and I'll still be able to use it. But then, like, the sun caught it just right. I saw the splash on it, and I'm like, oh, that's gross, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I take that same iPad home. My kids want to play a game on it. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, that's gross. So I was like, it's got to be wrapped. It's got to be covered. I got tired of wrapping it in plastic wrap, looking like a hobo when I tattooed, tired of cross-contaminating it. And so I actually had one of my friends, I was like, hey, man, can you run over to Walmart, get the biggest bag you can get, and I'm going to stick it in there and see if it works. Well, I could get one that it would fit in, but then I couldn't use the touchscreen option because it was too thick. So then I was like, well, there's got to be a different option. I tried to find a medical grade one, and they were like $25 to $45 a piece.
Whoa, per slip cover? Or
sleeve, because it was sterilized and all this other crazy stuff. And I was like, all right, I can't afford that. Like, my tattoos are going to get super expensive. So I was like, I got to figure something out. And so we started a process of figuring out how do we make a disposable plastic sleeve that I can use every time I tattoo. So through probably a year process of trying to figure out trial and error, wrong size. First time I did it was like the actual dimensions of the iPad without the cover on it, without a protective case. And then when I slid it in there, I was like, I'm going to drop this $1,200 thing, and I'm going to be super pissed for a long time. My wife's going to kill me, you know. So I was like, all right, it's got to be bigger. So we ended up making a product that you can put a disposable plastic sleeve on it, still keep your gloves on, and still use the touchscreen function, slide between different reference. And I've just learned I have way more reference. My tattoos have gotten significantly better because if I'm like, oh, well, I wonder what, I need some reference for that or whatever, I'll just Google it real fast while I'm tattooing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can actually touch my iPad.
Yeah.
And so we created a product called Anchor Sleeves. I had no plan on actually making a product, but as I was using it, I was like, man, this is making my life way easier. And I had other guys that, you know, were working at the shop, you know, and so I was like, man, you guys check these out and see what you think about them. They're like, these things are rad, man. And I was like, maybe some other people would like them, you know. And so just been sharing them with other tattooers, and by accident, created a product line that's so it's called Anchor Safety Sleeves.
So do you have some with you?
Yeah.
Because so you slide. Is that an open box or no?
No, but we can open it.
Okay. So they slide in and then they kind of adhere back to themselves.
So all it is, the
Can
sleeve.
you see that on here?
I don't know.
Yeah.
They slide in, and then it's got this little adhesive strip.
Yeah.
Take it off and fold over top of
Fold
itself.
over. Yeah.
And then it's sealed. Well, the nice thing is that when you're finished, you literally can take one glove off if this is sitting on your massage table or whatever, open it up, pull the clean iPad out, and throw it away.
Just throw it away.
And you've never had any problem with cross-contamination.
Like, what do they cost, like, per sleeve or per box? How do you break it down?
So the way I do it is the boxes come in unit counts of 25, 50, or 100. The 25 count box is $20. 50 count box is $30, and the 40 count box or the 100 count box is $40. So
okay.
20,
so if
30,
you buy
40.
100, then you're basically paying 40
cents a sleeve
per sleeve.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is funny because when I first did it, and of course you got to end up talking to a bunch of different businessmen trying to develop a product, and they're like, oh man, like this is a gold mine. You could easily charge $2, $3, $5 a sleeve for these things, man. You're protecting a $1,200 iPad, and I was like, I get where you're coming from, bro. Like, but there's no way I'll ever do that. And they're like, why not? And I was like, because I'm a tattooer first, man. Like, I'm not paying $5 a sleeve. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We're not going to use them. Like, I want everybody to use them because I want our community to be safer and better because of the product. Like, so I was like, I want it as cheap as possible, man. If I can get these things away and it not bankrupt me, I would do it. I was like, but that's just the way I could do it and make it cost effective for everybody to be able to protect themselves, protect their families, protect their clients. So.
And they fit the 13-inch iPad, and I guess if you want to use if you use the 10-inch, you can just fold it further over.
Yeah, you can just fold it over. And they're a little oversized so that you can keep your case on.
Gotcha.
And so even people with the OtterBox, as long as it's not like the full rubber ones that are like kind of sticky, because they kind of grab at the plastic. But I mean, the dimensions will fit.
They're just hard to get on and off with the rubber. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, like my buddy Andy, he uses them. He has an OtterBox, but it's not the sticky rubber one. It slides right on and no problems.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a great idea. Man. I'm surprised. I hadn't thought of it. And I'm surprised. If I had thought, like, I'd like to have a sleeve for my iPad, I would have just guessed I could have gone to Kingpin and found one, but you just couldn't find anything?
No. I looked everywhere, and I couldn't find it. And, I mean, I literally tried every dumb, easy way to do it, and I was just like, okay, I guess it's not out there. And so just by accident, out of necessity, I guess, I
scratch
came
your
up with
own
it.
itch. That's what they say.
And now I got a garage full of them because I hand
That's
what
what I was going to ask. Are you handling all of the shipping? Like, if people, if they order or if they have issues, if they have anything, they're dealing with you directly still on it, or what? They are. You've got to get it in with some distributors, though, right?
Yeah. No. Rob over at Electrum.
Okay. He's gonna. Yeah. You told me that.
Yeah. They're carrying it, and first off, they're a rad company to work with.
Yeah.
He's a tattooer. I mean, so I love supporting other tattooers in the community. And so, I mean, they do a lot of really cool things outside of carrying our product. They do a lot of cool things for the community itself.
Yeah.
So I was using them prior to that, and we just kind of became friends. And I told them about it, and they carry it. And we got a couple other companies the distributors and supply companies that we're working with.
Yeah.
And just kind of in talks right now. My thing is, for me, I really want to keep the retail price down because I'm a tattooer first. I mean, I don't care if would never do anything with it. I don't care if I ever make my money back on it. I'm still going to use a daggone product because I don't want to cross-contaminate everything.
Yeah.
But my thing is I want to keep the retail costs down so that it's affordable for all of us and we can stay safe.
Yeah,
So.
seems super cool. So what is there a website for it?
Yeah, it's Anchor. I don't know. Yeah, anchorsleeves.com. I don't know. I don't buy my own product. Anchorsleeves.com. Or what I suggest is for people to go to Electrum. Yeah. And they'll, hopefully there'll be other products here soon or companies soon. But yeah, Electrum, they just take care of people. So
yeah.
And they send you candy in their packages, which is dope.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that.
They've sent it to me a couple of times. I hope I didn't throw them under the bus and now they got to send candy to everybody. But no, it's dope. So like they're really cool people to work with.
The biggest mistake in my mind that Rob has made with Electrum is I hardly ever have to order anything because the gel goes so long. Like I've had the same bottle of gel for like a year and a half.
I literally just had a conversation with somebody about it, and they're like, "Oh, so what's that green stuff over there?" And he's a pretty new tattooer, and I was like, "What are you using, man?" And he told me the other white product that he was using, and I was like, "Yeah, I used to use that as well," and I started using stuff, and I threw that in the garbage can. I was like, not because I don't like them, like this stuff just lasts forever. And it works really, really good.
Yeah,
so,
and he has the removal. If you get it wrong, the removal stuff, which works on markers and stuff too. So yeah, it's good. We've never had Rob on the show, and he's actually just starting a show of his own. I was going to invite him on to talk about it, doing Electrum. Is it Electrum Radio or Electrum TV? I think he's
Electrum
doing
Radio.
Radio, yeah. He's doing mostly audio.
TV he's doing all kind of crazy business stuff. So there'll probably be TV soon.
Yeah. So well, cool, man. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
A lot of
Thank
fun.
you so much.
Oh, if people want to get tattooed or learn more about your actual work, Sandbridge
Tattoo. Yep.
Yeah.
Sandbridge Tattoo. We're in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and. Yeah, man. Come by. We'll take care of you.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. And your Instagram is just Tommy Altman.
Tommy Altman. Yeah, nothing creative. Cool. ALTMAN.
We'll drop all the links in the show notes. And that's it. Thank you guys for supporting what we do. Thanks for taking the time. Oh, thanks to Evergreen for having us out. Evergreen Tattoo Invitational. This is a great time, beautiful part of the world, fun convention.
Oh, yeah.
And Josh and Riley really take care of everyone. VIP room, lasagna.
Dude, this is, in my opinion, one of the best shows in the world. It's my favorite show to come to.
Yeah.
It's always super chill.
Yeah.
No crazy, loud craziness. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's great. So thank you guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks.